Early in the morning when the sun does rise, laying in the bed with bloodshot eyes. To set a scenario, and he's a boy who lives his life to the full with his bloodshot eyes, and this is in the morning, they're bloodshot,
Yeah.
Late in the evening, when the sun sinks low, that's about time my rooster crows. So he's a night owl. He likes to go out and about when his cock wakes up, as it were. Rooster, sorry. Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Les Audiophiles. You run around town like a fool and you think that it's groovy. You're giving it to some other guy who gives you the eye. You don't give nothing to me. You painted a smile and you dress all the while to excite me. But don't you know you're turning me on? I know that it's wrong, but I can't stop this pain inside me. More on that later. Andy.
Yeah.
No Billy Ocean. What have you got for us?
If I can count all the times I've been confused for Billy Ocean. Actually, we are going to.
I see that now. I see that.
Yeah, right. A certain light hits it. You know what I mean? So we're gonna wade back into the neo-traditional country waters, and we are going to give another listen to the old country squire, Tyler Childers. I believe he was one of the first videos we did, one of the first artists we did on this channel. We did a video for his song All Yearn, I think.
Yes.
Yes. So this is another track by him. And the name of the track is White House Road.
Okay.
All right. So go off and give it a listen and let me know what you think of this number.
Okay, will do.
Cool.
Early in the morning when the sun does rise, laying in the bed with bloodshot eyes. Late in the evening when the sun sinks low, that's about the time my rooster crows. I got women up and down this creek, and to keep me going and my engine clean. Run me ragged but I don't fret, 'cause there ain't been one slow me down none yet.
Okay, just obviously really, really simple, just him and his guitar. And he's just strumming away. Just a few chord changes, and it's all pretty much reliant on his voice and the narrative. It's got a really nice sound to it. I mean, it says in the background record store day, so he's just there singing away. But it sounds really good. Yeah, I just wanted from the lyrics, I was writing them down. Jesus, I can't read what I've written now. But it starts off, and it's the line sort of about the rooster made me laugh, and then about women up and down the creek and keeping his engine clean. So I wonder if there's some sort of it's obviously a slice of life, this. But if one is about maybe a truck driver, or if that's too literal. But yeah, let's see what happens.
Get me drinking that moonshine, get me higher than the grocery bill. Take my troubles to the high wall, throw them in the river and get your fill. We've been sniffing that cocaine, ain't nothing better when the wind cuts cold. Lord, it's a mighty hard living, but a damn people try to tell me red, keep this living and you wind up dead. Cast your troubles on the Lord of Lords, wind up laying on a cooling board. But I got buddies up White House Road, and they keep me strutting when my feet hang low. Rock gut whiskey gonna ease my pain, and all this running's gonna keep me sane. Get me drinking that moonshine, get me higher than the grocery bill. Take my troubles to the high wall, throw them in the river and get your fill. We've been sniffing that cocaine, ain't nothing better when the wind cuts cold. Lord, it's a mighty hard living, but a damn good feeling to run these roads. It's a damn good feeling to run these roads. When you lay me in the cold hard clay, won't you sing them hymns while the banjo plays? You can tell them ladies that they ought not frown, 'cause there ain't been nothing ever held me down. Lawmen, women, or shallow grave, same old blues, just a different day. Get me drinking that moonshine, get me higher than the grocery bill. Take my troubles to the high wall, throw them in the river and get your fill. We've been sniffing that cocaine, ain't nothing better when the wind cuts cold. Lord, it's a mighty hard living, but a damn good feeling to run these roads. It's a damn good feeling to run these roads. It's a damn good feeling to run these roads. Don't mind people grinning in your face. Don't mind people grinning in your face. Well, you just bear this in mind, a true friend is hard to find. Don't mind people grinning in your face.
Evocative. I was thinking as sort of like, I don't know, middle half of this, the tune and everything, it's not particularly country. I think what makes it country, or makes you think, oh, this is country, is the attitude, the way he's singing it, and the words, really. Because if you took the tune, it's almost folksy. I mean, it wouldn't be out of place on Led Zeppelin 3, Jimmy Page's sort of bits and pieces he does there. So yeah, it's interesting, and it kind of, yeah, it owes its sound to that folksy, bluesy sort of sound, really, rather than a Nashville country sound, which I'm not particularly fond of. But yeah, there's interesting imagery there. Obviously, moonshine and cocaine. So someone's definitely self-medicating a lot and seeming to at least tell himself that it's a mighty fine way to live. There's that weird bit at the end where he says, don't mind people grinning in your face. And that's like two ways. You never have it that it's like, everybody else is off their face, or people who are sort of grinning at you because you're an idiot. You're acting like an idiot, or you're off your face. So something about a true friend is hard to find as well. Interesting. I'll have to mull that over. But yeah, I found this quite fascinating, really. Really simple song, but his performance is great. He has got a wonderful voice. And it's got that right amount of croak and rasp to it, which conveys emotion without being OTT. Yeah, I really like the performance. It's not particularly a sort of song that I would slap on to listen to, but having said that, I enjoy listening to it. Yeah, it's decent. Right, we'll best get the lowdown on this particular hoedown and go back and talk with Andy.
All right, so you've returned from your jaunt down White House Road. What do you make of this tune? What do you make of this now? I should mention that on Into the Music, you at least heard Nose to the Grindstone, a song that I had done with Greg. So this is your third, I think, song that you've listened to.
Also, the Feathered Little Indians
as well. So this is your fourth track. Now, having heard Tyler Childers' stuff, so what do you make of this one?
Yeah, trying to weigh it up. I think probably like this one the most because of its simplicity.
Yeah.
It's a really, really simple song. I mean, there's a little bit of picking at the start and stuff, but really it's about 4-5 chords. I'm not a musician, but it's about that, you know, and it's just doing it. It's all about the narrative, really, and this sort of scenario that he sets, and also his performance. So as he starts, I'm not going to break the song down. He strums a bit and strums a bit more. There's definitely a guitar in there, and then he strums a bit more, and he's singing. Yeah, I think I've nailed it. Yeah, so while he was singing, I was desperately trying to write down lyrics, and I caught some, but some of them are patchy as well. I'll go through what I caught in a bit. But I was also thinking at points, which that's why there's gaps. And it goes at a fair lick as well, for God's sake. But I was thinking, what makes this a country song? Because the guitar melody, motif, whatever you want to call it, is actually, I would class myself as more folksy. In fact, it wouldn't be out of place on something like Led Zeppelin 3. It's like one of those little acoustic melodies that Jimmy Page is so fond of. You know, it's very similar. And others as well, obviously. Yeah. But that's the first thing that sprung to mind. So country-wise, I think it's down to the language he uses, his performance and his attitude, and he is a country or near country, or whatever you want to call it, performer. So you would lump it in with that. But, you know, if you went and did this down at some folk club, it would still go down a storm, I should imagine. Yes. You could almost, it's one of those, you know, slice of life songs or whatever. Let me tell you about it, how it is for us folks type thing. Yeah. And you could align it with like Woody Guthrie songs easily, you know. And it's certainly not that hackneyed Nashville sound, which I really don't like. And that's the country that puts me off country, as it were. Yeah.
We are one and the same when it comes to that distinction and taste difference when it comes to the music under the country umbrella. I am totally with you.
Yeah. So I think I said this before in the previous actions that Billy Connolly, as you know, was a folk stroke country singer. He was in a band. It was in a band with Jerry Rafferty. Bloody hell. And he was used to do Billy Connolly's routines going on about the old country singers, that they're sort of yodeling. And he says, you know, everyone goes, hey, how are you? And it's like that. And it's like, yeah, I know exactly what you mean. And it's bloody awful. Right, unless you're very drunk. But Tyler, back to the guy, has a great voice, and it's got that sort of edge of croak and rasp, but it's just a, you know, slight edge to it, which I'm sure is down to his good clean living. And you know, with just the voice and the guitar, there's not a lot to go at, but there's certainly nowhere to hide as well. So it's a great performance. But lyrics, I'll go back to the lyrics now. It's pretty clear this song is lyric driven. I know my sort of track record. Apologies in advance.
This is where you shine, John.
Yeah, so there's only so much I can bloody write down, you know. I did study shorthand, but that is one sure way to fuck up your handwriting. It's awful.
Oh my God, yeah.
And I could do just shy of 100 words a minute, but then you have to read it back and translate it. I just never. I don't know if you know shorthand, but you miss out all the vowels normally. So it's like LRTN. You know, it's like, what the anyway. So the first bit I got, because it's really easy, and it seemed to be slightly slower, probably wasn't, but it just, I think it was like a snowball. To me, like these words were coming at me like bloody Japanese fighter pilots at Pearl Harbor. You know, it was early in the morning when the sun does rise, laying in the bed with bloodshot eyes. To set a scenario, and he's a boy who lives his life to the full with his bloodshot eyes, you know, and this is in the morning, they're bloodshot, you know. Yeah. Late in the evening, when the sun sinks low, that's about time my rooster crows. So he's a night owl. He likes to go out and about when his cock wakes up, as it were. Rooster, sorry. Now, it gets patchy after this bit, so bear with me. It says something about I got women up and down this creek, I think he says. And then something about, does it hold me down or something, and then keeps my engine clean or something. And then he goes on to a bit about this is the chorus which repeated, and I've got most of it. Something about drinking that moonshine, get me higher than the grocery bill, take my troubles to a high wall, throw in the river and get your fill, something like that. And he says that quite often. So at this point, I think I stopped it, you know, just to sort of comment on the start of the thing. It put me in mind of, and I don't know if this is very literal, if he's being very literary, but it put me in mind of like a truck driver with a lass in every stop, as it were, that sort of thing, and fairly sort of self-medicating lifestyle, which he then goes on to say something about sniffing that cocaine. Nothing better when the wind cuts cold. Something about Lord Mighty hard living, damn good feeling to run these roads. So that's what I'm thinking. Now it doesn't have to be a truck driver, but that's what sprung to my mind straight away.
Of course, yeah.
And then there was some other stuff about people trying to tell me red. Now I just didn't make sense what I wrote down, but I think perhaps that's what they're calling him, as in is his name. You'll wind up dead. So obviously other people are a wee bit concerned about his lifestyle, and it's something about trouble, Lord of Lords. I don't think he's really bothering him too much. And then Buddy's in the White House Road. Now, I'm presuming that this isn't some sort of metaphor, White House Road, but I think it's actually geographically, it is specific, I think, and these are references that are local to him rather than the White House. I wrote, you know, paths to whatever. So about feet hanging low. This is a point where I really didn't catch much. Whiskey, pain, keep me sane. Cold hard clay, banjo plays. Nothing held me down. Something about women and shallow graves. Same old blues. And then he just chorus again. And then he finishes with This is a really haunting little bit actually. Don't mind people grinning in your face a couple of times. And then it says a true friend is hard to find. Yeah, so my notes, slice of life, itinerant life on the road, geographical area, knowledge will perhaps give some context, blah, 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 seem to self-medicate. Yeah, and I got the sense he proclaims that it's a damn good to run these roads, but it's like, I'm wondering, because of the amount of self-medication, it may be some people do, but I don't know if it's particularly cocaine, but sort of uppers and whatever to keep them going on these very long journeys that they have across America. But it kind of it hints at sadness, really, and loneliness. You know, someone proclaiming what a great life they've got usually means the opposite. And that last bit, don't mind people grinning in your face. I wasn't quite sure, because it can be that I saw both, and I've experienced both scenarios, that you walk into a place where everybody's having so much bloody fun and you're late to the party and they're off their face already or whatever, and they're all grinning at you and you stand there like, you know, the stranger at the wedding. Or you're complete an idiot, you're off your face, and you stumble across people living their normal life and they don't, so embarrassed, they don't want to do but just grin at you. And that last line, "true friend is hard to find," it's just like, yeah, that's a really lonely line to sing. And right at the end of the song, like he's done all these proclamations about his lifestyle, and then he happened to mention that, yeah, actually, it's pretty fucking lonely. So yeah, that's my take on it. I liked it. I like the simplicity of this. Loved his voice. Loved the very simple guitar and just like ambling along and this sort of slice of it. I'd listen to it a couple more times to really get everything out of it, you know, because I think the words are really important. But yeah, I like this a lot. And again, it's not a million miles away from like a folk song or even a blues song, you know. It's that, you know, sort of thing, isn't it, where it's just a narrative, you know, a very simple first person one as well. And yeah, just listen to what a guy's got to say about his life and his story.
Yeah, yeah. I think the performance that you saw, he takes a little bit of artistic carte blanche with the lyrics there at the end, because in the actual lyrics that are posted, there's no allusion to the grinning in the face and the friends. So this is like, I think he's added a bit to this, and I think you're spot on and right in your assessment of it. But yeah, it's an added bit for the performance that you saw.
Oh, and can I just add, I did write down on here, but not on my notes here, record store day, whatever. It just looks like a crummy stage. Someone's put a mic up there and a curtain and a homemade banner, and he just got up and sang rather than, you know, a venue, as it were.
Yeah.
And for that, the sound quality and his performance is superb.
Yeah.
You couldn't have got it much better. And it's just amazing, really.
I know. It's like one step up from a high school talent show.
Yeah, exactly.
But the sound is great, and he's like he's almost like a fish out of water because he's a fish too big for this small pond setting that they've got here. But yeah,
really cool.
And it also goes to show, I think it helps illustrate how this album, how this was probably played pretty early on and after this album's creation, because this is the album that would subsequently vault him into the stratosphere of popularity and all that stuff. So it's like you caught him just before the star really started to ascend, if you will. So yeah, it's cool performance. And he does do a great job. There is in the radio version like some banjos added and stuff, so it's a little stripped back with him. But I think it also is perfect for the genre to just see a guy up there with his guitar putting it all out there, which is why I chose it. So just for those that are listening in and saying like, oh, I know this song, why isn't he talking about the banjos or whatever? That's why.
But that's the kind of whole Woody Guthrie thing, isn't it? It's traveling around from place to place with your instrument, and you can just sit down anywhere and do your whole set.
You've got this knackered guitar case with a couple stickers on it and some frayed threads, and you know, you open it up and you just start killing it. So yeah, and that's kind of him in a nutshell. So yeah, his music is a mix of neo-traditional country, as I alluded to, but it's also got a heavy dose of bluegrass and folk, as you alluded to. So he isn't just a one trick pony or whatever. He's got some other sounds up his sleeve, and I think you're absolutely right in like honing in and finding the folk in there. It's not hard to find, right? It's very much drenched in that kind of sound, along with the country and the bluegrass you get. This release again came off his second album, which was called Purgatory, and it was released in August 2017. And he's released 6 studio albums and a number of EPs and singles as well. This album was rated an 82 on Metacritic. Noisy ranked it 75th album of the year, while NPR ranked it the 39th, and Rolling Stone named it the 14th on its list of top 40 best country and Americana albums of 2017. It peaked at 98 on the U.S. Billboard's 200, 11 on the U.S. Top Country Albums Billboard, 4 on the U.S. Folk Albums Billboard, and 3 on the U.S. Independent Albums. The album art, which I don't think you saw, at least not at any point in this reaction, the album, but I know you're a man who appreciates album art, which is the only reason I've included this tidbit. This is like, everywhere the audience is like, but John's like, ooh, album art? The album art appears to be a reference to the shape of Lawrence County, Kentucky, the birthplace of Childers. And additionally, the coloration and shape are reminiscent of Kentucky agate, a type of agate found in Estill, Jackson, Powell, Madison, and Rockcastle counties in Kentucky. And obviously mining and minerals and all that stuff is a big part of Appalachia. So I think that's sort of his nod to his hometown.
Can I just interject there 1 second? The only reason I know all about that is from the TV series Justified.
Yes,
sorry, Timothy Olyphant, and of course they do all the mining there in Kentucky. Yeah, which I had no idea about before seeing that.
Yeah, well, there you go, and that's kind of like indicative of Western North Carolina, parts of Tennessee, Eastern Tennessee, Kentucky. You'll have all of that stuff. So yeah, absolutely. So yeah, to go over the lyrics, early in the morning when the sun does rise, laying in the bed with bloodshot eyes. Late in the evening when the sun sinks low, that's about the time my rooster crows. I got women up and down this creek, and they keep me going and my engine clean. Which is funny because I always thought that visiting various women along a creek would leave your engine anything but clean, but to each their own. I guess you got different results.
Perhaps they give it a polish afterwards.
Perhaps that's it. Run me ragged, but I don't fret. Because there ain't nothing, because there ain't been one to slow me down, none yet. Get me drinking that moonshine, get me higher than the grocery bill. Take my troubles to the high wall, throw them in the river and get your fill. We've been sniffing that cocaine, ain't nothing better when the wind cuts cold. Lord, it's a mighty hard living, but a damn good feeling to run these roads. I got people try to tell me, Red, keep this living and you'll wind up dead. Cast your troubles on the Lord of Lords, or wind up laying on the cold or on the cooling board. But I got buddies up White House Road, and they keep me strutting when my feet hang low. Rock Gut whiskey gonna ease my pain, and all this running's gonna keep me sane. Get me drinking that moonshine, get me higher than the grocery bill. Take my troubles to the high wall, throw them in the river and get your fill. We've been sniffing that cocaine, ain't nothing better when the wind cuts cold. Lord, it's a mighty hard living, but a damn good feeling to run these roads. It's a damn good feeling to run these roads. When you lay me in the cold hard clay, won't you sing them hymns while the banjo plays? You can tell them ladies that they ought not frown, because there ain't been nothing ever hold me down. Lawman, women, or a shallow grave, same old blues, just a different day. Get me drinking that moonshine, get me higher than the grocery bill. And I just love that line, get me higher than the grocery bill. It's nothing like a good Appalachia song or like Everyman song to make you a good reference to how high the grocery bills are.
Cost of living.
Yeah, exactly. Take my troubles to the high wall, throw them in the river and get your fill. We've been sniffing that cocaine. Of course, they can afford that, if not the groceries. Ain't nothing better when the wind cuts cold. Lord, it's a mighty hard living, but a damn good feeling to run these roads. It's a damn good feeling to run these roads. It's a damn good feeling to run these roads. And lyrically, White House Road is an anthem of freedom and living life on your own terms, and was inspired by Tyler's experience growing up in Lawrence County, Kentucky. It has the attitude that you'd expect from an outlaw country and working class life, and served to introduce the world to the relatable songwriting style of Tyler Childers. In 2017, Childers offered a bit more insight into what inspired the song specifically, and it turns out it was the supposed exploits of a fella he knew from his hometown. Childers, with some of his own experience as well injected in there as well, but he says, I was just thinking about this dude I worked with, his tall tales and flat out lies, and how much of a wild cat he was. He was an interesting character, but I always tried to steer clear of that when I was living back home. As far as getting into that much orneriness. Then I ended up moving to Lexington and getting into a different kind of orneriness, but orneriness nonetheless. I ain't too much different. Same game, different baseball field. Apparently the name White House Road, this is divorced from his quote, but apparently the name White House Road comes from this wild man that Childers describes, telling him that he knew people in the White House. Yes, the White House. So this is part of, I know people up there White House Road. What is that, 95? That's the highway that would get you to to DC. But yeah, it's a funny song. He kind of strings in the tall tales of this fellow with some of his own, I think more of the allusions to his drinking habits and stuff, which he's talked about before, have leaked in here and permeated the song. And it's a bit more of his tales. The running the roads and the girls and the cocaine might be a little bit of this White House Road fella, but it's a funny story. It is. I think if you're from a certain part of this country and you're between the ages of like 18 and 35, you're either in the throes of this or you're not so far removed from it that you can't remember these kind of times. And it's just like they said, it's a bit of an anthem for those kind of folk. And I just love the song. It makes me laugh. It is a bit of it's almost got I don't want to call it poppy, but a mass appeal sound to it because of its simplicity. There isn't a lot that alienates the listener, even if they're coming from some other place that isn't country music or they didn't grow up or listening to this stuff all the time. But I think it's a damn good song, and another reason why I'm a big fan of Mr. Childers, the country squire. So thank you for giving this one a listen, John. I'm really glad you liked it.
Yeah, no problem.
Cool. Well, everybody out there in the listening audience, I know at least half of y'all come from nowhere near Appalachia, but let us know what you thought of this song and if it resonated with you. And maybe if it reminded you of any artists or other songs that you've heard of, please drop that information down in the comments field. We love interacting with you guys and seeing what you have to. We got a lot of really like big music fans in our audience, so I tend to get some really interesting insights from people who perhaps are from a generation or two before me and have insights into music. And if I offer up something that makes them think of something they're familiar with, I'm eager to kind of go check that out, because if something I like was inspired or you think was inspired by something that came before, I'm going to want to learn about that. I'm just naturally inquisitive, especially when it comes to stuff like music, which John and I have clearly devoted a lot of time to, and a lot of you all have too. Also, while we've got your attention, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Try to get some extra eyes on this channel. We want to grow the population and the viewership here at the Audiophiles, and we really, really can't do that without you guys, and we are forever appreciative of it. All that out of the way. Hopefully, John and I will see all y'all and then some on the next episode of the Audiophiles. See you later, guys.